40-minute drive, you stay on my mind. Not that many things I let take my time. Walking up, I didn't realize what's behind your smile. I'll be here a while. 2 months wait and feel like I'm in overdrive. Anticipating got me thinking why. And I feel alive, but I'm dead inside. I wait inside, put on my disguise. Expectation leading to an afterthought. This occasion got you looking nonchalant. Could it be you're the only one I want? But it's 1 in the morning and I can't get away. 5 days after and I'm still feeling shame. 3 times over and you're still on my brain. While you're over there slowly forgetting my name. 1 more minute and I'm going insane. Looking through the messages I shouldn't have said. We got masks on, baby. I've been hiding lately, crawling out, slowly resurrecting, getting off the ground. Voices in my head turning all the way down. I can see myself now, done falling deeper. But it's
Welcome everybody to another episode of HBTV The Show with your host Harry Bugarin, and my special guest tonight is going to be Lovsky. And again, if this is your first time tuning into HBTV, thank you very much for your time. And if you are a repeat viewer, thank you again. I couldn't have done this without your support. What we do here at HBTV, we inspire, we influence, and we educate and empower. And that's what I do. I bring on guests from all over our local communities and even nationwide. I even try to hit people globally. And what we do here is just highlight all the positive things that we're doing here. As far as for the guests that come on our show, and tonight is no different. Again, Lovsky is going to be my special guest tonight. You just heard her track Masks. It's been out. Go catch her on Spotify. But yeah, let's get into the show. I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my guest. So without further ado, help me bring in Lovsky. Lovsky, good evening. Can you hear me? I can. Okay, cool. Wait, 1 second, really quick. I just want to make sure that I have your audio as well, because you had mentioned earlier that I was muted. So let me see if I can catch you. Can you give me a sound check real quick?
Checking 1 2 1 2.
My mic sounds nice. Check 1, check 2. We have Lovsky live here on HBTV. So thank you for joining us. And how are you tonight?
I am fantastic. Thank you for asking.
Great.
Having a lovely evening, and I'm excited to be here.
Oh, thank you very much, Lovsky. So really quick, there's going to be people here that probably know you, but for the millions that will be watching soon in the future that do not know Lovsky, can you do me a huge favor? Go ahead and tell the audience, give us like your 30-second elevator speech of who Lovsky is and what you do.
Okay. Well, also let me know, Harry, if the connection goes a little weird because I have, wonky service. So just let me know.
No problem.
Um, so I am Lovsky. That is my real name. It's my last name. I am first generation of two Ukrainian immigrant parents. Very hilarious little pair. I am a singer, songwriter, producer now. I've been teaching myself that, kind of learning along the way, picking things up, and also dancer, ballroom dancer, former competitor. Um, and yeah, that's a little about me. I am obsessed with food. Um, and that's a little fun fact.
No,
So
I love
yeah.
it. So really quick, you're a foodie. Give me the top three off the top of your head. What's your favorite foods to eat?
Oh my, that's hard. But at least you gave me a top three.
Yeah,
Okay.
top three.
Top three. I love a good breakfast burrito.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love a good burger.
Okay.
And I gotta shout out to the homeland. Blinchiki
Mm.
and vareniki. So blinchiki are Russian crepes, and vareniki are like pierogies, like they're little Russian Ukrainian ravioli. Okay.
Nice. I never had Russian food, but really quick, going down. You said breakfast burrito. I know you from the Bay Area. Shout out to the Bay Area. We love the Bay Area here. I'm a big fan of the Bay Area. Um, and since you've been down here, breakfast burrito versus the North, the Bay Area, and the South Bay here. How are the breakfast burritos here, man? Be honest. Be truthfully honest there.
Um, the breakfast burritos out here are fantastic.
Okay.
The burritos, the real burritos, are better in San Francisco. But that's just me though.
Okay.
That's just
Okay. Okay. And remind me, what part of the Bay are you from?
I'm from San Francisco.
Oh, you straight up from the city, the
Yeah,
city.
born and raised. My parents now live in the peninsula, so they're
Okay.
like on the south side. But I grew up in the Richmond district
Hmm.
on Geary and 8th Avenue. So whoever
Wow.
knows what that is
Yeah,
is me.
I know exactly where that is. Shout out to my guy Rex. I was couch surfing on California and Powell. He had a little apartment there. And shout out to our buddy Jason Mann, because after I was couch surfing on Rex's couch on California Powell, I went to Daly City and linked up with our guy Jason Mann, and he was able.
Jason, I
Jason
love
Mann, yeah, yeah,
Jason.
he gave us he gave me opportunity to earn some money in Half Moon Bay at his shop. He was a manager there, so it was cool. And again, big ups to Jason Mann. So really quick, thank you for your time. Love what you're doing as far as being an artist, composer, everything, and producer now. Like I said, I bring on these guests on mine, and it's always inspiring to listen to their message, to listen about their passion and what they do. In your case, it's music and art and writing and all that good stuff. So just wanted to roll with you and have you take us through your journey, as far as where you started from, and let's talk about that, your journey, how you evolved and to where you came about now. So I'd just like to hear, like, when did this all start for you? Like, how old were you? Where were you? And what was that setting? Did you have like an older cousin or like your auntie or uncle that kind of took you under your wing, like when you're a kid, and just like, wow, this is beautiful, music is beautiful, writing is beautiful, that kind of stuff. Bring us back, take us in that time machine, and let us know how that all worked for you.
Well, okay, so as I mentioned, the competitive ballroom thing, that was my main thing. So I
Mm.
started that at 6. And around 20, I sort of injured my back and it made me kind of question everything. Um, and one of the things I questioned was what made me the happiest when it came to dancing, what aspect of dancing got me the most excited. And I found that um it was music. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime my favorite song would come on, I would get so pumped and I would just perform my best. And I
Mm.
thought, what's something I can take away from this experience that maybe something I could pursue next that involves the arts, because I felt in my heart, like deep down, because I have some training background, with personal training. I love nutrition. I love health.
Mm.
So the other side of me was like, I can go the safe route and try to do that. But every time I would think about it, I would think how much I wanted to pursue something artistic. And it was singing in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to try this. But the thing is I was only, okay, this was my experience from childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and then it stopped sort of after childhood. So I didn't really sing till around 2014 is when I started pursuing that. And I'll tell you who kind of was
Okay.
the catalyst for that. But um as a kid, I would perform Happy Birthday. Like everyone had to be quiet when Susanna came into the room. And so my name is Susanna, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I would come into the room and it was a birthday and I was like 5, 6 years old, everyone had to be quiet because I was singing Happy Birthday. So
Awesome.
that's kind of like, I would always be performing. Yeah. I loved performing. I loved
Mm.
attention. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't like the attention. I loved kind of just being like squad dab in the middle. So anyway, fast forward, I didn't really do any singing in high school or anything. I was in Broadway in middle school.
Mm.
Did a little bit of singing, but I wasn't really thinking anything about it. I truthfully didn't know I could sing. I always thought like, I was singing Christina Aguilera, but it was like, okay, I thought I was like just a kid, whatever. Um, and in 2014, so I was in this relationship that I've learned a lot of my lessons from my relationships.
Okay.
And I like that my whole everything I stand for is revolving around love. So
Mm.
I actually, and it's cool that it plays into my name, but it truthfully is at the core who I am. It's like revolves around love and vulnerability. So um fortunately and unfortunately, I've learned these lessons of self-love and about love and about becoming this person that I am now through bad and good relationships. So this one I was in back then, I realized I was my light was being dimmed, and I
Mm-hmm.
realized
Wow.
something. I realized I really wanted to pursue something, and this person was not um supportive of it, and it made
Mm.
me want to pursue it even more.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, and this is something that has happened throughout my life, I always feel like intuition is guiding me, so I kind of just let things guide me. So one night I was like, how do I start pursuing music? Like I'm kind of grown now, like by 20 by 20ish, and already have something going for them with music, usually like something established a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
had nothing. I didn't know where
Mm.
to start. So I hit up the two people I knew that kind of knew about the industry. One of my very good family friends, Stas Klevner, he's out in the Bay, and my other family friend, who I call my cousin, and then Stas I call my brother, so
Yeah.
that's family.
Uh-huh.
They're both Russian. So um Igor, my cousin. So um Stas said, go get yourself out there.
Mm.
Go maybe try to find a band to sing with. And Igor said, start practicing songwriting. And I was like, those two are great pieces of advice, but how? So I tried to
Mm.
figure it out. So I went on Craigslist.
Okay.
And the first and only thing I submitted to was this band called Low Country Kingdom, and they
Okay.
said I was the last submission they looked at because they were sick of everyone they looked at, and nobody was fitting what they wanted. In the Bay Area, there's this huge venue called Slim's, and I think now it's sadly closed, but
Mm.
they're they were preparing for a big show at Slim's, and they wanted someone to kind of amplify the show, and they wanted a female vocalist.
Mm.
I sent them a 20 second recording in my stairwell of me singing Killing Me Softly the Lauryn Hill
Nice.
rendition.
Nice.
One of my favorite songs and one of my biggest inspirations. Um, and they were like, "Listen, let's get on like a Google Hangouts call, and then let's, you know, meet in person if that goes well." So that all happened pretty fast. And next thing I know, in like 2 weeks, I'm rehearsing. I'm singing their music, not having had any training, nothing. And in the month's time, I'm on stage. And we had
Wow.
this incredible performance that honestly, like, people were coming up to us being like, "How long have you guys been a band?" And it was
Mm.
our first performance. And that performance was when I knew this is what I need to do, because I hadn't ever felt that comfortable. And it just felt so right. So shout out to those guys, Scott and Adam. They were the two founders of that Low Country Kingdom band. Super cool. It's like kind of electro popish, not like a
Mm.
rock band.
Yeah.
So learned a lot with them. Cool experiences. That was like took up 3 years of my life. So that was awesome while I was in school.
So let me ask you something. So that was your guys' first time performing as a group, and I'm gonna assume that was the very first time you got on stage and felt all that energy. So let me take you back to an experience I had. Okay, so I was in Half Moon Bay, and Jason can tell you about this. But I was at Half Moon Bay. I was at one of the open mic nights at a restaurant or bar, and one of our good friends drove up all the way from LA. They were up there as well, and this was basically my very first time to play. And I was just playing. I'm not a singer or anything like that. So I was covering. We were covering "Redemption" song from Bob Marley. One of my friends, Rex, his wife's good friend, was singing, and I was there playing. Let me tell you something. I had so many butterflies in my stomach that night that, man, I went to the toilet, man, and I had to throw up, man, just to get that stuff out. And you hear about that, you see that in movies. I think in La Bamba, I think Richie Valens did it, so I didn't feel too bad. If Richie Valens had to throw up, it's cool that I threw up too. But but it was that. But once you got on there, got on the stage, and the lights just like blaring at you, I didn't really see people. It was just me, the singer, and you're in that zone, right? You're in that zone, and everything goes away. After I did my first couple of plucks on the chords, it was like I was in my zone. It took me away. So as far as you, I'm pretty sure you can remember before getting on that stage, and what were you feeling? This is the first time you said you had no actual training. This is the first time you're doing this. You're practicing their music, and what was take us back. What was going through your mind? What kind of emotions and feelings were you feeling at that time?
I have to say, pretty similar to your little butterflies. Same thing. I had a little nervous thing going on, but I was excited. And
Mm.
one of my favorite things about that show and that time in my life, that I probably won't ever feel that way again,
Mm.
because let me tell you why. Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Mm-hmm.
I knew nothing about technique. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I was just having the time of my life. Like,
Yeah.
I was just performing. So um all of my expectations for myself were non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
That it was just do what you've been rehearsing with the boys, have the time of your life, and perform like you have all of your life with dancing. And I let myself be free. And I think that was the most special thing about that experience, because instead of the nerves that ended up coming to me as time went on, because I had these expectations for myself, and I would hear my pitch, and if I was pitchy,
Mm.
and if I'm pitchy now, like, it just it throws me off. But I've learned how to kind of harness that. And if it's a little off, it's okay. Everybody, it's no one's perfect. So
Yeah.
um but over the years it's been rough because I'm really hard on myself. So um yeah, anyway, the initial feeling was excitement,
Mm-hmm.
and it just grew to be um this like physically I was buzzing. Like my
Hmm.
whole body was just buzzing. It was like I was on a different planet. Just like, whoa. Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, one thing, and you've talked about it a couple times already, through our conversation now, is that you were a ballroom dancer competitor. Now, for a lot of us, we don't know too much about the ballroom, scene and environment with as far as like competition. How old were you when you started doing that, and what type of ballroom dancing would it be? Like, excuse my ignorance, it would be like the waltz and the foxtrot and things like that, or is it something totally different, like on Strictly Ballroom or Shall We Dance, that those kind of movies? Like, what was that? What was that like for you?
I started at 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did Latin. So not ballroom, not standard, which is
Okay.
what that's called. I did Latin, so that's cha-cha, samba, rumba, paso doble, and jive. I was just joking with one of my friends who is now living in LA, just moved out from San Francisco, great
Mm.
ballroom dancer. Um, how whenever we say ballroom to people, either they think like that or they think salsa, and it
Mm-hmm.
just drives us nuts because nobody knows
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's not that. So yeah, it was, I started at a young age. It was this dance studio. It's a very heavy Russian Jewish
Mm.
community based community. So that's where I was as a kid. And my mom tried to get me involved in middle school, basketball. I love basketball, but I love to watch it. And I can shoot a mean free throw, but that's as
Mm-hmm.
far as I go with, like, that was not it for me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um but yeah, uh just those dances, and you train until you get it right, and you keep
Wow.
training.
Wow. And as far as competition, that was like in neighboring cities, where you, or did you go like across the state? Like how did that go?
So, some big competitions. Okay, so regionals, obviously in your region.
Hmm.
A bunch of local competitions. But then when you hit, you have to rank in regionals to get to nationals. So, um, you know, when I got older, that's where I was going. Made it to a few nationals. Actually,
Wow.
one in my category, won nationals in 2012, which was really cool. Um, and then soon after, like 2013 or 2013 is when I was like around when I was quitting. I think 2014.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I never really got to go to Blackpool, which was something I wanted to do. Blackpool is in the UK. It's
Mm.
one of the biggest competitions, and it's all the best people around the world.
Wow.
So when you rank high in Blackpool, you're like pro.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
So again, everybody, you guys are watching HBTV, the show, with your host Harry Bugarin, and my special guest tonight is Lovsky. So Lovsky, you had your experience with that band in the Bay Area, right? So you're doing that. You're seeing that you're loving it. You love the music. You love singing. You love performing. So when was that transition coming down to Los Angeles here in La La Land, and what was the big push for that? Was it more music, and you had opportunities here with other bands and other producers and such?
Well, when I was finishing up college, so I told myself, like, originally I was with the band and they wanted me to move out to LA, but I wasn't done with
Hmm.
college yet. And they were like, "Well, transfer." And I was like, I considered it, and
Hmm.
it would have just been the biggest headache
Hmm.
because it's a state school. Transferring credits, I would have probably been stuck and not finished college, to be honest, because it was already a lot. So after I finished college, I made the move, and actually by then the band had organically broken up.
Hmm.
We just parted ways for a few reasons. But once I made it out to LA, I had moved in with a significant other, and that was, just dealing with like moving in and into a new city. I had never, really left San Francisco, never left home. So that was kind of a whole experience for
Mm-hmm.
me. And then a few months after that, I ended up finding a place for myself. And that's when I really started, you know, writing things that I wanted to write. And what I did was I went on YouTube and I would find MP3, I would find really cool beats that I liked and I would write to them. And eventually, like I told you, you know, things just come, like I just get led to things, or I feel like I'm kind of watched over. So I went to a party randomly that my
Mm.
friend invited me to. I wasn't gonna go. I was working. By the way, when I moved to LA, I had like 5 jobs. I'm a workaholic. So um now I'm now that's, you know, we'll get to the quarantine question, but that's
Yeah.
transitioned to being a workaholic in the things that matter most to me instead
Mm-hmm.
of having these empty soulless jobs that
Mm.
I had piling up. Um, anyway, I go to this party and I'm like, everyone's super clicky. It was up in the hills, so you can imagine.
Okay.
I don't know anybody. I'm just like this quirky girl. It's kind of a scene,
Yeah.
and I decide to look around and I thought I literally said this in my head. I was like, okay, lead me to where I should go. Like my intuition. I was just like, just where should I sit down? Where should I go chill? I sat down next to this guy. He just was being really funny. So I was like, oh, this could be a funny guy to chat with. So we start chatting, and one thing leads to the next. He's like, I want to hear your music. And I play him a track that I literally had just written a few nights before that. And he was like, I need to get you in a studio. So he calls a friend. That friend is like, yeah, bring her on Thursday, whatever. So we get to the studio, and that's when I met the person that I started a duo with a couple years ago. And that's the studio where I made Blue Suede, my first single, where I made Impatient, and Hurricane, which are a lot of the singles. Those are the singles that are on my Spotify. And that kind of was my shift into Lovsky and kind of starting my own sound, developing myself. And that was a cool little piece of my life. And then the studio shut down, and there were some like personal things. And in the meantime, I was building music stuff. I was still building music catalog. And yeah, and then I had another. I have some songs in the tuck from that time still that
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna release soon. But yeah, that was quite the experience, quite the ride. And then that was also split with like duo stuff, like I mentioned. Chase Aaron, a great producer, who I had started a duo with, so we had created a few sounds together. The duo was called Surrender. That was cool. um and yeah, and then the pandemic happened. We kind of parted ways, and I had to learn a lot about myself. It was a really rough time for me, not because of the pandemic, but because of relationship stuff and healing
Mm.
and some things I experienced. But I am so grateful for all those things because that led me to sitting there and learning more about production. And I
Mm-hmm.
had the time now because of the pandemic. So I created Stay, which is the single that I dropped in November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's when I was like, that's it. I'm empowering myself and I'm just doing this full force on my own now. Um, and yeah, now I'm here and now I run the show. Cause
That.
I used to be so like it's not in my personality. Like my close friends, anyone from home
Yeah.
or anyone that knows me knows I'm like I'm kind of a hard ass, or like I'll be sassy, I'll tell it how it is. But I was just so timid with the music scene, and I also wanted to learn a lot. I still do. I still have a
Mm-hmm.
lot to learn. By no means do I know anything, but at least I kind of know when I know what I want, I'll put my foot down. Versus before, I would be like, oh yeah, if someone was like, oh no, don't do that, I'd be like, yeah. Now I'm like, no, I'm doing that. So
That's cool. I
it's
mean,
kind of cool.
you're your own alpha, which is awesome. So two things. Everybody who's on here watching now and later, go check out Blue Suede. I think that's one of my favorite tracks that you have. That's always on the back button that I'm always like repeat, 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 because I believe
Thank you.
that yeah, I just love the music, love your lyrics with that, and that is really cool. And then number two, it's just crazy um, how opportunities just present itself. You know what I mean? Just you're just saying, hey man, I'm at this crazy party. This is LA, whatever. Oh, that dude looks kind of funny. Let me just go check him out and see who I can chat to. Um, and it just goes to show, it's like, hey man, you're there taking risks. You're like, screw it, I'm gonna put myself out there, meet some people, have that conversation, and that's where it starts, right? It starts with that conversation where some people just don't have that in them, and they will not go out there and present themselves for those opportunities. So I think that's really cool. So again, everybody, you guys are watching HBTV the show. I'm your host Harry Bugarin with my special guest tonight, the lovely Miss Lovsky. So really quick, like I just wanted to ask you this. Like you said, a lot of people in your position at your age at the time when you started have already kind of been established, right? So you've been in the music scene and doing your thing for almost like 5-6 years now. You would say
2014 and 2021.
seven, I guess. About 7 years, close 6.5, 7 years. So in between that time, you spoke about it. You learned a lot as far as challenges during that time, and tell us a little bit about some of the whether it be roadblocks, challenges, and things like um, that you were able to kind of like break down or jump over or whatever to get over that to help build who you are now.
What a question, man. What a question.
You ain't got to go deep, but just if you have some nuggets in there that you can tell us. If that's cool. If not, we can go and skip over to the next question, because I got a couple in my bank right now.
Oh no, we're good. That's a lovely question.
Okay.
It's very important.
Okay.
A few pieces. I guess I'll make it into advice. But what I've learned is, don't let anybody change who you are.
Mm.
Stay true to yourself, and when you feel something in your gut, like, I want to do that. Well, that feels right. Don't listen to anybody unless, obviously, take that with a grain of salt, unless it's something absurd. But I'm saying, if, for example, like, there were multiple times when I was told, don't release that song, or that's not ready yet, or that's not perfect enough. That got ingrained so deeply in my mind, in my brain, that it made me a crippling perfectionist, and it stifled me when it came to just creating and letting the public hear things. And one thing I wish I had done, and I believe that things have gone the way they're supposed to, and they'll continue to go that way, but one thing I wish I would have done was just release stuff, like, as soon as I felt like it was right, and just kind of made my own way, just figured it out, because that's what I was doing initially. But then a lot of people's opinions got in my head, and it was overwhelming for me. And it's funny, because I'm not one to care about what people think, but when it's someone really dear to me, it hits me so hard that I can't help but care what they think. So the public, I will be weird and goofy and foolish forever. I love when people see me at my rawest form, but when it's some kind of advice from people, it started getting in my head. And that's what I feel like I've finally come to a place where I can decipher my intuition, what I think I should do versus what I think is genuine good advice for my next steps. That's one thing. A few other hurdles. Um, I you don't realize how resilient you have to be in this. This is not for the faint of heart or whatever that phrase is.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of thick skin, and it's not even like hearing no's. It's literally hearing nothing. It's like being ghosted or like being flaked on, or other people. You have to consider other people have lives as well. So when you don't get something back, it's not personal.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I have learned, and this is something college taught me, but I didn't know this would be this prevalent in the music industry. You have got to have your own back. Like, you, not even your own back. You have got to pretty much run your machine and know how to run it yourself fully. Like, no one's going to do anything for you. There are definitely exceptions in the industry where people got lucky, but when you have no connections, when you have nothing, when you're starting from zero, you do everything. You have to know, you have to wear all the hats, and you have to be resilient with putting yourself out there and things not going the way you planned, and just like continue to go. And I'm literally speaking from experience right now. Like, the things that I've had to endure in the past few weeks are so irritating. But I also had to think about, wow, I sat down and I thought, I've seen this quote multiple times, and it comes to me like through the internet whenever I need to see it. It like pops up randomly. And I'm like, thank you for the reminder. Remember the time you wished you were where you're at now? So like, remember the time you were praying for what you have now? So I was thinking about like some irritations, some annoyances that I had to deal with recently. And I thought, well, they're all music related. The fact that I'm dealing with, like, I just shot a virtual show and the B-roll is off time. The fact that I'm dealing with trying to like remake this one song that has this sample on it that we probably can't get cleared.
Oh wow.
Like, the fact that that's all these little annoyances are what I was experiencing. The fact that I had to deal with some distribution mess for distributing one of my songs. Cool, dude. I'm annoyed, but guess what? It's all music related. So I'm happy. So anyway, the point is staying true to who you are, and knowing that you have to have a lot of resilience and persevere in like the face of adversity. So yeah.
And thank you for going over those challenges. You know, a lot of us who don't see the back end, behind the scenes of what it takes to even put out one track as it is. You know, a lot of people don't know how it is to be involved with that. And so thank you for sharing the challenges. And you know, I'm sure a lot of people will appreciate that, especially, you know, coming from you. You just said it from the heart, you know, 100% there. So right now, real quick, this is what I call the rapid section, right, of the interview. I just want to know here, without even thinking, who you are as far as a musician, as far as the people that or groups that inspired you. What are the top five, or who are the top five that inspired you? I'm pretty sure one of them is on your shirt right now. We love her. But tell us a little bit more about the other four that has inspired you, and how has that helped you shape your music and you being an artist yourself?
Okay, I love that question. Would you like the answer of the oldies? Because my inspirations stem from the kind of the more OGs.
Or love it.
You want
give
modern...
it. No. Give the OGs. You talking to an OG? How about that?
Okay. Well, a few off the top of my head. I mentioned earlier Lauryn Hill, Ray Charles, Michael Jackson, and Nina Simone. And then there are a handful of others.
Yeah, like, for sure. For sure.
Aretha, Etta James. Yeah, a lot of other ones. But Anyway, and Sade, obviously. But the way they've shaped me. So Sade was somebody. My mom loved Sade, so my
Mm-hmm.
mom was always playing Sade. My parents are very musical.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was hearing Sade all the time, and I always thought, wow, what an intriguing voice. Because I remember being a kid, I always thought it was a dude singing, and
Whoa.
I was like,
Okay.
when I would hear like certain songs, there were like a couple songs, and I was a child, I was like, this is such a deep, sultry voice.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? But I knew it wasn't a dude. It was like, who is this
Mm-hmm.
creature? This amazing these vocals. And as I grew up, I started, listening more, and I just love the lyrical direction. I love how simple yet complex the vocals are in Sade's stuff. And I love the ethereal aspect of Sade's
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Um One, Lauryn Hill, most impactful movie scene ever for me was, I think it was Sister Act 2, not
Uh-huh.
1.
Uh-huh.
That's when I fell in love with Lauryn Hill.
Mm.
And I was like, that I cry every time I hear
Mm.
that when she sings in that movie. I remember hearing that. I was older than like, I don't know, probably like 9 or 10 or something like that. And oh my God, I will never forget the
Mm.
feeling I got when I heard her sing. Um, yeah, and then Miseducation, that album,
Yeah.
Lovers Rock is my favorite Sade album.
Mm.
And so Miseducation, I just heard how, and I love the Fugees too. Then as I grew up, I kind of looked into this stuff, and I was like, oh wow, blah blah blah. But anyway, just how she speaks her mind, and I love artists that have substance to them. Um, I just think she looks at the world in a light that is unusual.
Mm.
It's like very philosophical, um, and insightful. So it's not like surface level. Um, so she impacted me kind of like with her character
Mm-hmm.
as well, the way she presented herself, very poised. Um, Ray Charles, I'm into tones. All these
Mm.
people, all these artists have tones. Nina Simone, she wasn't doing runs or anything crazy, but her tone was so moving that I would fall in love with whatever I would hear that she would be singing. It's like heart-wrenching. That's how moving it is to me. Same with Ray Charles. That tone, that rasp, and his swag. Just, I loved how cool he was. Um, Marvin Gaye. I don't know who. Oh, Michael Jackson.
Of
Michael
course.
Jackson is somebody I grew up listening to because my sister, who's 9 years older than me,
Mm.
we shared a bedroom when I was little. So I would be woken up to like "That's the Way Love Goes" by Janet
Yeah.
Jackson as her alarm, and then she would be playing Michael Jackson all the time, and like albums that people don't even know. Not they're not like his most popular.
Mm-hmm.
Like "Give In to Me" is one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, and that's thanks to my sister. So he the way he performed, his demeanor, his humility, all of those things I loved about him. Um, and I didn't mention this guy, but Eminem was a really big part of my life when I was little.
Yeah, he's dope, man. He's dope. He's one of the best.
Eminem show changed my life.
Okay.
So, yeah. So that was when, and my parents are like so Ukrainian. They had no idea. I'm just like listening to my mom loved, one of my mom's favorite songs is "Cleaning Out My Closet." So like, shout out to my mom. She was very hip.
Cool.
Um, yeah. So anyway, the list goes on too because I am really into R&B, rap, and
Mm.
soul is my main thing.
Yeah.
Blues. Um, so yeah, that those people, along with a handful of modern artists, have shaped who I am.
Mm-hmm.
When I write and when I make stuff, I kind of don't think about any of them. I just think about how do I emulate my emotions in whatever I'm trying to write? And then I think they naturally come out because of how much I love them and have listened to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, and I can hear it in your music as well, and you know some of my friends that I did pass on some of the tracks to, they love it. You know, they said it was very soulful, very you know there's some jazz elements in there as well. And again, everybody, if you know whoever's watching this, and people are going to be watching it later, Blue Suede is one of my favorites, probably like the top three of what Lovsky has put out, and Masks as well. If you jumped on in the very beginning, I was playing her track, Masks. Very cool. She has one that's like a lo-fi beat, but then also she hit me with some acoustic playing from one of her guitars last night, and that sounds just as dope. So, but as far as yourself, like, tell us, like, how would you describe your music? How would you describe like your most your most the latest ones that you're putting out? Is it more R&B? Is it soul? You know, is it jazz? Is it just all mixture? Like what? How would you classify that genre right there for you?
It's everything. I'm paving a way. I don't know what genre I am.
Mm.
It's honestly, you should see when I have these uploads, because when you upload a song, like when
Um,
you put it on distribution, or if you pitch it to a playlist, or you're trying to get it on a playlist, you have to put genres. It's hilarious every time when I'm talking to whatever producer I've worked with. We're sitting there thinking, what genre do we put? And we always put R&B, soul, pop, because what is it? And
what is it?
I'm sorry, but I can't. And so, like, the
Yeah,
answer to that is it's everything. For right now, I'm just exploring. I
yeah.
think luckily, like, I'm up and coming, so I don't have
Mm,
pressure on being one thing. So I really am just doing whatever. Um, the next few releases I have coming up, I have, this is the thing. I work with different producers, so
yeah.
every song is sort of different. Depending on who I'm working with, it could be similar to what I had in the past. It just depends. But also, what I've noticed is where I'm at in my life at that moment, because the songs I made in that studio that I was talking about sounded one way. They all
Mm-hmm.
sounded similar. They kind of had a similar vibe. The songs I made along with Stay that aren't out, like the song Secrets, the song By My Side, um, which by the way is influenced by Your Side by
Okay.
Sade. Um, but all these are coming up, but they all have a similar sound depending on when they were written, because in that moment I had a vibe going. Like it was just an emotion that I felt, and emotions aren't just through lyrics, they're through production as well. So that just happens naturally. So yeah, the sounds, they really fluctuate. That's all I can say.
Yeah, yeah, man, that's awesome. So, you know, just for the remainder of the time, you know, it's almost coming up to the time that we're going to be cutting our conversation. But, tell us like what inspires you, what keeps you going, what drives you to keep going, keep writing, keep creating, keep singing. Like, what is it about the music um, that drives your passion for this?
That's a great question. Um, what inspires me is the fact that I have been able, time and time again, when I have thought, how will I portray my emotions about this certain feeling? I have been used as a vessel. I truly believe I've been used as a vessel. Like, explaining how I've come up with certain lyrics is beyond me, because I know in those moments I something takes over me, and I don't, it's like you can't force that stuff. So the fact that time and time again I have been blessed with these creative ideas that come out and come to fruition, I know that internally I just have this like constant inspiration no matter what, even if it feels like the flame is down. I know that I can pick it back up when I feel something, because when I feel something is when I'll be able to songwrite and to put those feelings out and create something. The other things that inspire me, I I think we take just being for granted. So I like to like step away from things and experience life. And I think one of the biggest lessons I learned a couple years back was the fact that I was always thinking ahead and thinking about the future and
Mm-hmm.
planning, because that was one that's like something that's just kind of my personality is I like to plan. And this one experience I had really taught me to stay present. Now I won't get into that, but it the point is that it taught me to stay present, and ever since then, whenever I feel like my brain is fluttering around or I'm getting ahead of myself, I remind myself to stay present. And whenever I really practice gratitude for like the small things, I get naturally inspired. Like I just feel excited about life. And being is like one of those things, just like going outside, smelling the fresh air and looking at the sky. um the simple things, eating for sure, cooking, whatever. um just little things that make me really happy. Reading definitely. I am pissed at myself because I have so many books that I need to read. I just
Yeah.
need to sit down. um
I dig it.
but yeah, just also being around people that love you. Like I have
Mm,
some really awesome friends. Shout out to my best friends. I love you
mm.
guys. Because they have kept me sane, first of all in this city, but second of all just during times where I had some really big dips down, and I was not, I was having a hard time.
Yeah.
So all of that's an inspiration, everything. And when I hear a song that I am moved by, especially nowadays,
Mm,
oh man, do I replay that
yeah.
and replay and replay. And that is something that's huge for me, because if something inspires me like that, like
Mm.
I randomly find it on Spotify, oh my gosh, that's that.
That's it, right? Well, I
Yeah.
mean, hey, man, you inspire me as well. I love your music. Looking to hear, more from you as far as tracks and the projects that you're doing. Definitely would love to keep in touch with you. And are you open to work with other producers that you don't know? Let's just say like someone's like, hey, Harry, is it cool if I can link up with Lovsky? Is that something that you are open to, and to get some producers to be working with you from other parts of the world, maybe?
Of course. Tell
Okay,
them to hit me up on Instagram.
I will.
And
So
it depends what the sound is, and I'll tell them yes or no.
that's awesome. No, 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 fair enough. That's really cool. So thank you again for taking the time. It's been great to know more about you, to learn more about you, and just talk to you, man. It's been a blessing, man, and I'm humbled for that, and thank you for your time. I do appreciate it. But just wanted to ask you, before I do let you go, is it would be possible for you to sing us out the episode with one of your tracks, one of the songs that you have.
Of course, of course. I can I have a little instrumental I can slap on. We can do Stay. That's cool because you guys heard Masks earlier, so we'll do that one.
All right,
Um
let's do it. So let me just fill it in. Live on HBTV, the show, we have a premiere here on HBTV with Lovsky. So please stay tuned and, please have your full attention. Go ahead, Lovsky.
and one more thing. I have a virtual show coming up, so
Mm.
anyone that's listening, follow me on Instagram because I have a single drop on Friday, which is Masks. And then I have a really cool virtual show where I sing 4 songs live. One of them being Masks and one of them being a really cool cover. So, and then a few of my other originals. So, yeah, please go to my Instagram and just keep up with me, and also follow my Spotify if you use Spotify.
We'll do it. Now I'll put all that in the description of the video when we're done here.
Perfect.
All right. So here's Lovsky.
All right, bear with me. Let me start this up, make sure the volume's up. I said something wrong tonight. You waited for me to cry. Now I'm seeing double, one thing then another, left fighting the time. I waited till you'd show up. I tried to resist your love. Now standing in the dark, made choices with my heart, something that I can't deny. Don't leave till morning, just spend the night. I want you here so I could keep you off my mind. No need to hurry, let's pour the wine. I wake up feeling all the wrongs I want it right. And I wish we could just stay without us being afraid. I don't wanna walk away and tell you a lie, but I know we'll keep playing the same mistake, debating if this will fade. This time it was no surprise, the way you looked when I said goodbye. An open letter to you, silence in the room, there's no turning back. A shining star in the sky above, the only thing that could help me up. A sign that I won't need you, nothing left here to prove, put it all in the past. Yet I still want your love. Don't leave till morning, just spend the night. I want you here so I could keep you off my mind. No need to hurry, let's pour the wine. I wake up feeling all the wrongs I want it right. And I wish we could just stay without us being afraid. I don't wanna walk away and tell you a lie, but I know we'll keep playing the same mistake, debating if this will fade. Thank you guys.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Lovsky. I do appreciate that. And again, everybody, if you haven't already, go ahead and follow her on Instagram and check out the Spotify for all of her singles there. And she is going to be dropping a new single soon. So follow her on Instagram. Let's all go give her that support and buy some tickets to the virtual concert that she's going to be putting out. So Lovsky, thank you very much. You have a blessed night and a blessed rest of your week. And thank you very much for joining me tonight on HBTV the show. I do appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Harry. Thank you so much for having me. And this was a great interview, great questions. And shout out to Jason who linked us.
Jason's on the chat. He was watching. My wife is on here too. She says welcome, Lovsky, and my man MT Cullen, Mike Cullen, who also we all loved your music as well. So thank you very much, and let's please keep in touch, and we will be following you and keeping up to date with Lovsky's music.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Appreciate
you too. You have a good night. Well, that was our episode tonight with Lovsky. Again, check out the video description. Go ahead and follow her on her IG account and check out Spotify. She will be dropping that single again, and if you have that time, if you can, go ahead and check her out on that virtual concert. She'll be singing the 4 songs and that one cover, and I want to check it out myself as soon as that thing drops. More than likely I'm getting those tickets as well, and maybe some backstage passes if that comes with the tickets too. So, but we will see. But again, I just want to give a shout out to my guy Philly Phil out there, Future Unlimited Media. He's on Twitch. He spins house music. He had a great session the other night. I just want to share with you guys his schedule here. Here it says the Junction Express Tuesday nights. This is his time here from 5 p.m. all the way to 10 p.m. That's him spinning live on Twitch at 10 p.m. So go check him out. If you got Twitch, or get on Twitch, follow him and check out his set. He does house music. It was a great set. Loved it and had a good time with him that night when he was spinning. So this is Tuesday nights. He also gets on Friday as well, but just go ahead and follow him, check him out. So again, that's our episode for tonight. You guys stay blessed, and thank you again for joining me tonight. Until next time, stay blessed.